threshold, excitation threshold. So in other words, I'm intolerant of boredom. I get bored very easily, and I don't tolerate boredom very easily. I enter a field, it takes me a few months, I master the rudiments of the field, not the entire field, but the rudiments I definitely master within a few months. I usually make a contribution. Some of these contributions were even substantial and totally unknown, like I showed you yesterday, computer science. And then I move on because I'm bored. It bores me.
Is there a self-destructive impulse there to build a sandcastle? It's a beautiful sandcastle. Nobody else can build one as brilliant as that. I'm going to kick it down because fuck it.
Self-destruction is, of course, culture-bound. It's value-dependent. Da Vinci would not have thought of himself as self-destructive because he moved from biology to ornithology to botanics to painting to sculpture to, to building submarines, and then he would not have considered himself self-destructive. He would have considered himself overjoyed to be in the supermarket of life. So there are so many fields, so many areas of knowledge, and that I feel deprived. I would have felt deprived if I had to stick to one. For example, I feel utterly deprived. And I'm wasting so much time on narcissism.
Yeah, it's a terrible waste.
Yes.
Why? So I say to people, Sam Vaknin, his first paper is published on the subject of quantum physics. He has a unique theory of time. And they look at me like I'm lying. I can read very clearly on their faces. They think I'm lying. I've drunk your Kool-Aid. I'm in your thrall. And
that's on Wikipedia, by the way.
Yeah.
Not my friends. I hate my guts. So Wikipedia.
It's out there. Well, I've read it. I tried to read the abstract. I can't read the paper.
That part is on Wikipedia.
Why do you never talk about that on your YouTube channel?
About my
quantum physics.
Actually, I have a YouTube channel which is sparsely watched, where I mention it. Because it's past. It's gone. Now there's a group of 40 scientists all over the world working on it, developing it. And now papers are being published in mainstream academic journals.
As a grandiose narcissist, would you not be tempted to brag about the fact, because you were 17 when this was published?
My grandiosity is more Da Vinci than Einstein.
Right.
I want to be this versatile...
Renaissance man.
Yes, Renaissance man. And with, there's no limit to my genius.
But why don't you brag?
Brag about what?
About what you've... In this smartphone, the chip in this smartphone, the chip was developed based on logic that you created.
When was the last time you heard of a universal genius? We are in an age where only specialized geniuses get recognition, not universal geniuses. The last universal genius you might have heard of was Linus Pauling, maybe. And before that, universal geniuses are out of fashion, have been out of fashion, I would say, for at least 100 years.
But you haven't told people, there's no self-promotion.
Listen, I make a video. And in the video I say, listen, do you know that I'm in physics, computer science, philosophy, that? It's not goal-oriented. People say, so what does he want? What am I getting out of it?
This is what people do. I mean, people write on Instagram they ate a fucking cheese sandwich. They definitely say. I can see there's a meta grandiosity, which would be, well, I'm not going to do what mere mortals do. Of course I did this. It was easy
it's
for
not
me.
that. No, I don't think there is the capacity to appreciate a universal genius. If I am, I'm not sure I am, but
you would say it is wasted. Like if you told people
if
what
I
you
did that, people will say he's lying, he's exaggerating, or what a waste. Or the reaction to universal genius today, in this day and age, are derision. Because you make money only if you're a specialized genius.
Okay. So I immediately thought of Elon Musk, and then I was like, well, that's specialized, and he's very, very wealthy. Yeah.
You make money only a specialized genius. It's all money oriented. It's all materialistic. It's all win or lose, zero-sum game. It's all Trump style. It's all, and even Trump has difficulty with that. Look at Trump's life. He started as a real estate developer. He continued as a reality TV star, and now he's a president. He's being derided.
Yes.
Instead of people saying, listen, wow, that's quite a versatile intelligence. I mean, he succeeded in that, in that, in that. What do they say? Ah, this reality TV star became president.
Yeah.
They deride his versatility. They don't find it an asset.
Just as an aside, do you think that he is a skilled, intelligent guy with something to contribute?
He is, in some respects, a case of arrested development, obviously. He has raw intelligence, but he's not an intellectual because he lacks curiosity and because of his grandiose defenses. So his raw intelligence is raw. I would never eat raw meat. I prefer it to be cooked. Trump is half-baked, not cooked. He's raw. But yes, of course he has intelligence. I know that he has intelligence because he transported his intelligence. I mean, he applied it in different fields. And these fields are utterly unrelated. And in all of them, he made a success of himself. He was a reality TV star, which has nothing to do with real estate, which has nothing to do with politics. And he made a success in all three. I can only imagine what would have happened if his intelligence was disciplined, structured, and properly applied.
Yeah.
He has the potential to have been a genius.
Right
now, he's retarded because his intelligence is raw.
Yeah.
But yes, of course, he had the potential to be a genius, in my view. And I'm not a Trump fan, mind you, as you may recall. But he definitely has the potential for genius.
So you think if he'd been raised in a different environment, had a more formalized education that worked for him?
Less of a father.
You think the father is the problem there?
Father is a huge problem. He's still competing against his father.
Yeah.
His father was a very limited real estate constructor.
Yes.
Nothing to write home about, frankly.
Yes.
A typical German retard. And he's still competing against him.
Yes.
And he is far superior to his father. As far as intelligence, as far as versatility, life skills, adaptability, he's far superior to his father. I mean, he took his father's empire and he exploded it within 10 years. In New York, I was there, by the way. So I have respect to Trump's potential. Total disrespect to Trump the man, but for his potential, yes. But look at the reaction. The reaction is not to say, wow, this guy succeeded here, there, here. But the reaction is to say, this reality TV star, what is he doing in politics?
Yeah.
You have to be politician.
Yes.
Or reality star.
Yes.
TV.
Stick
TV
in
star.
your role.
Or, I mean, there's no second act in life now.
Yeah.
While the typical European intellectual during the Renaissance and afterwards the Baroque, the typical intellectual usually dabbled in 10 fields. 10 fields was a low-level intellectual. I mean, a typical intellectual would write essays in mathematics, in, let's say, logic, in philosophy, in political science, in economics, and no one would come and tell him, what's your qualification to write about economics?
Yeah.
You should confine yourself only to the ethics of slaughtering animals in slaughterhouses in North America between the years 1870 and 1950.
Yeah.
And if you write anything outside that, you're not qualified, you're a charlatan, and this is the approach. And the reason for that is that being a specialized genius is an adaptive strategy. It's all about survival, all. Being a specialized genius guarantees excess returns, guarantees wealth, guarantees money. General practitioner in medicine knows everything, knows cardiology, endocrinology, and sometimes at a very high level, but makes a fraction of what a cardiologist makes.
Yes.
Now, what is a cardiologist? Let's have a dispassionate look. I'm a medical doctor. Let's have a dispassionate look. Cardiologist is a guy who deals with one of the most basic pumps in nature. This pump contracts and expands, and then shockingly contracts again. And that's all it does. That's all it does.
Yeah.
He is a mechanic.
Yeah.
But he makes fortunes.
Yes.
Because he is specialized in this pump.
Yes.
It's a pump, nothing else, trust me. He specializes in these pumps. So specialization has excess return in today's environment. And if you're a universal genius, you're derided. You're considered a waste, an idiot. Because why would you give up money?
Right. Money is the only thing.
Why do you give up money? Do you know what people tell me? I'm a strange narcissist. I don't brag about many things that I could have bragged. I mean, you've known me for 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
First time you ever heard that I made contribution to computer science was yesterday.
Was last night, and I just found out whilst you were making coffee that you have a PhD in philosophy, and that was your first PhD.
I never brag. I mean, I don't brag. And that's a strange feature as far as narcissism goes. But I don't, simply don't. It's a fact. So, but when I tell the few people that I told that 40 years ago, I actually revised or reformed or evolved the logic that today underlies all computing devices, this camera included, this, everything. Everything carries my signature in it. All modern computer languages and on the chip level are based on my modification of the basic logic. So you know what people tell me? They don't say, wow, amazing, what an intellect. And did you make money out of it? I say, no, I was academic. Academics just give away their...
Yeah.
Ah, what an idiot. What an idiot you are. You never made money. Look at Bill Gates, how much money he made. Look at, you never made money out of it. No, I mean, the intellect is... the question is, does it make money?
Right.
Is it an appropriate tool for self-enrichment?
Yeah.
No? Then you're an idiot.
Then you're an idiot, yeah.
I read an article yesterday that Jimmy Carter, his only property in the entire world is a house, which is worth $167,000.
Wow.
It's only property. Do you know what were the comments? What an idiot. Look at this retard. President, chief of NGOs all over the world, and he ends up with a house of 167. Peanut farmer is always a peanut farmer. Comment.
That's what it said.
Yeah. I did not find a single comment which said he's a good man. He promoted human rights values. He established NGOs which helped millions around the world. He won the Nobel Prize. None. Nothing.
Our values really have become inverted.
367 comments.
Of derision.
All of them, what a retarded person he is, that he ended up with $167,000. And all his life's work is now reduced to his idiocy that he ended up with so little money. That's his life's work. That's what he will be remembered for.
Because he's failing to act like a narcissistic psychopath and take as much as he can. Because if I was in that position, what I would take.
Multi-millionaire. Yeah. In other words, honesty, because you have to be corrupt. To end up with more than 167,000, you have to be Hillary Clinton. So, so now honesty, for example, is a negative adaptation. Versatility is a negative adaptation. Multiple intelligence, what I have is called multiple intelligence. Multiple intelligence is a negative adaptation. I will not brag about it, I will be considered an idiot. I invented the core language of all computing devices and I don't have what to eat. I am absolutely retarded. If there was a stamp needed that I'm a retard, this is it.
Right. So you don't talk about it because the backlash
it's shameful.
It's shameful. Yeah.
It's absolutely shameful.
Yeah. Well, the quantum physics thing, what age were you when that paper was published? I really want people to know.
It's not a paper, it's my doctoral dissertation. Sorry. Before that I published papers in thermodynamics, but that's a different story.
So before this so this is your doctor's thesis?
Yeah, my doctor's thesis.
Because you're a doctor in physics?
Yeah.
How old were you when
21.
You were 21, but you'd already published papers.
I was a professor in the Technion at 17.
You were a professor at 17?
Adjunct professor, teaching thermodynamics and so on.
And you were also you also started studying medicine when you were 12. When did you actually finish the degree in medicine?
I got MD at the age of 16. But I didn't continue to internship and so on, so I'm not allowed to call myself medical doctor. Right. Although the MD is MD, it's an academic degree, which is valid, of course, but I cannot practice and I cannot call myself doctor. I don't have a license.
Okay, but you have an MD.
I have an MD.
And it's a valid
MD. Is MD.
MD.
It's like BA. I mean, you have it for life.
Yes, it's your degree. You completed that degree.
I completed the degree. I passed all the tests. I was the second best student in Israel's history of medical schools. any medical school. So I passed with flying colors, but I'm not allowed to practice and so on. Still, I love the field. It's the one that got away, my long lost love.
Yeah.
I dedicate about 2 hours a day to reading stuff in medicine. I give medical advice to people who are sufficient risk takers, adrenaline junkies. Yeah. Let's take medical advice from this narcissist. Let's see if I survive. And anyway, so when I came up with a theory in physics, 21. It's a perfect example, by the way. I came up with a theory, and at the time, parts of it were published in Israel. So everyone was saying, "Wow, it's greater than Einstein. It's amazing. It's this and that." And the theory had some predictions in it, and so on. And then I lost interest. It was boring.
What was what was your? I know it was about time. What was your theory?
You know, there are two types of revolutions in science. There are revolutions that change the way we look at familiar things. And there are the revolutions that change the way we think. To change the way we think, we need to change language itself. Because it is language that creates the world for us.
Yeah.
We interact with the world via language. So revolutions that change language are more profound, much more profound, than revolutions that change the way we think. So for example, I can tell you, come sit in my place. Of course, you will see everything differently. That's a revolution. But if I convince you that you're actually not human being, which in your case should not be too difficult, but if I convince you that you're actually not human being, I'm changing the way you think about yourself, changing your language. That opens up whole vistas, because if you're not human being, what are you? And then when you find your new identity, you can, new capabilities, new skills. So it's a much more profound revolution. Both Newton and Einstein instituted or initiated revolutions of the first kind. They accepted the language as a given. They just told us, you're not looking at it rightly. So take Einstein, for example. Einstein never said there's no space. He never said that. He said, yes, there is space, but you're looking at it completely wrong. You should look at space differently. Yes, there is time. He didn't say there's no time. So there is time. But you're looking at it completely wrongly. So Einstein adopted the vocabulary, accepted the language. He just rewrote the definitions. That's a major, don't misunderstand, that's
huge.
It's huge. It's one hell of a thing. Still, 100 years later, still reverberating and amazing us. It's mind-boggling. It's the greatest intellectual revolution in human history, in my view. But it's still an in-house revolution.
You're still working within the parameters.
You are in this apartment, that's it.
Yes.
You go to that room, to this room, you're here. You can change the furniture, you can move it here, but you're still here. Being a narcissist, of course I would not go for this minor, midget, dwarfish revolution. This is not for me, this is for Lilliputians. I'm Gulliver. At least I'm self-deprecating, no? Give me a compliment, give me a compliment. Absolutely. So what I went for, and there has been only one revolution of the profound, in the profound sense, before. That was Aristotle. And later Plato. These two guys had a profound revolution of the type that Newton and Einstein did not. They did not reach this level. All your language, they invented the language. All your language elements today were invented then. The concept of ID, the concept of ideal shape, the concept of shape. I mean, stop for a minute. Shape. It's so intuitive. Everything has a shape. You have a shape. I mean, I have a shape. Marian has a shape. You have a shape. Well, to some extent. And so it's very intuitive. But hey, guy, it was invented. There was no concept of shape before these guys.
We take it as a given now.
But they invented it. It was Plato who said there's an ideal shape. So I wanted to do something on that level. Of course, who is Einstein for me? I want to do something on that level. So what I did, seriously, since your question was serious, I think, what I did was trying to, I said to myself, listen, let me rewrite physics from ground zero, from scratch, but without using the current language, without using a word of the current language.
Okay.
I'm not going to use space. I'm not going to. And now let's see what.
Yeah.
So I believe that, like Zen Buddhists, I believe that language distorts and corrupts. I believe that we imbue language with meaning that later we confuse and think says something about the world. And that, of course, is easily can be proven is wrong.
Yeah.
So what I did is I said I will write a theory in physics which is languageless. It sounds perhaps simple, but it is daunting.
Yeah.
Because you intuitively want to say, this body is in space. No, you can't.
Yeah.
This body is moving. Wait a minute, it cannot move.
Yeah.
Because it must be moving compared to something.
Yes.
And if there are two, there's space.
Yeah.
So you can't say that. I can't use motion, can't use space, can't use anything. I said, so what can I use? I mean, somehow I have to talk to myself at least, if, to no one else.
That's what it sounds like. You've created a puzzle. You've deliberately created an
Yes.
impossible task.
Yes, imposed on
For
myself.
yourself.
Yes.
For your so that yourself can battle yourself.
With myself. Remember, multiple personality. You true self are nothing. You're a child. You're stupid. You're an idiot. Don't hurt me. You are my false self. You should protect me. But I thought that anything less than that. I mean, I'm doing everything for interest. Whatever I'm doing for interest.
Yeah.
Anything less, I mean, okay. So I will say something very clever about space.
Yeah.
Maybe even,
Yeah.
people will say, wow, it's an amazing. Because, for example, today there are theories that the whole universe is a hologram.
Yes.
Hologram, like it's a three-dimensional kind of simulation. And it's really stunning. I mean, it's like, wow, you say, wow, until you say, wait a minute. What are these guys saying? They are renaming. It's renaming. It's an exercise in renaming. They're saying space is space, dimension is dimension. There's nothing new there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just another way of looking at it, like
Yeah.
Einstein.
They're still in the same room.
Yeah, they're in the room. But if you say that you can't use the language, and then I said, wait a minute, but I have to talk to myself somehow. I have to start somewhere. I have to put pen to paper. At the time, it was pen to paper, really. There was no computers, no nothing. Remember dinosaurs?
Vaguely.
They were dying. They were dying at that stage. Someone died on my doorstep. I said, the only thing I can borrow from the old language, because it has an existence independent of the old language. Actually, there were two, but I ruled out one. The only thing I can borrow safely is time. Because even the language that was invented in time. Nothing is outside time or can be outside time. Nothing. You can be outside space. You can imagine being outside space. But even when you imagine that you're outside space, you are in time. There's no possibility to write, this is the atom, the elementary particle, this is the quark. This is the most basic unit. All the rest is derivative. Motion depends on time, space depends on time, as Einstein showed. It's strange to me. Einstein worked for 40 years trying to build the next theory, which he called the theory of everything. I am shocked that he didn't see that. Because what did Einstein say? Einstein said, guys, there is no such thing as space. Space is the result of measurements that depend crucially on time. There is no simultaneity, there's no synchronicity. If I am traveling and you are static, you will see an event happening at one point in time, and I, because I'm traveling, will see it later. So, because you see it at one point in time and I will see it a bit later, from this we can derive space. So, I was shocked that he didn't make the next leap.
Yeah.
And to say, wait a minute, space is therefore an illusion, it's all time, which is. And I was shocked that he never did it. He kind of froze.
Yeah.
He got stuck in a record, vinyl record.
Yeah.
Like he got stuck.
Yeah.
He kept turning and turning.
You couldn't see the wood for the trees.
Yes, and I said, wait a minute. Even if you look at Einstein, it's all time, and that's the only word I'm allowed to use. I'm not allowed to use anything else. Not motion, not because all derivative, all secondary words I'm not allowed to use. Only let's take time and see how from time I derive all the rules of physics, all the physical constants, absolutely everything, and I did. Now, I succeeded to show.
You rewrote. Sorry, you re-showed the rules of physics through a new dimension.
Not new dimension. I said that what we call dimensions, what we call space, what we call the universe, what we are manifestations of time, different ways of looking at time. It's a little like the elephant, the famous story with the elephant, where you have three blind wise men, one is touching the tail. So I said, when we are touching the tail of time, we call it universe. When we are touching the leg of time, we are calling it space. But of course I had to show the elephant. So what I did, I took only the assumption that there is time. I said actually that what we call universe is made only of time. Nothing else. No mass, no matter, no. It's very Eastern.
Yeah, it is.
No time, no space, no matter, no motion. No, it's all not illusions, but it's all ways of looking at time.
Yeah.
I said, okay, but now I must prove it.
Yeah.
So what I did, I took time and I showed that if you look at it from in a specific way, it becomes space.
Right.
And then if you look at it from another way, it becomes mass. Mass.
Yeah.
And if you look at it from another way, it becomes motion. And if you look at it from this way, it becomes elementary particles. So I showed that all of our physics, all the branches, is actually different ways of looking at time. But people say, wait a minute, how can my wife be made of time? Did you see her lately?
Yeah.
I mean, how can my wife be made of time? It's not that she's made of time. It's that we are constructed, our biology is to survive. We are constructed with pieces of software that allow us to see time as space, as mass, as motion, as... My theory is built into the human brain. My doctorate is in every human brain. Kind of deceiving us, kind of helping us to see time in a way that will allow us to survive.
So it's like an interpretive ability.
Yes, kind of dictionary.
We're interpreting time as
space, mass,
as
space, as this, as that. Now,
it's pretty psychedelic.
Yes, very. My theory is so insane that for 30 years, no one understood it. I mean, it's been looked at by many. I had a friend, someone I became friends with, Feynman, one of the greatest physicists of all time. He couldn't understand it. He said, what are you saying? He said, so the universe is made of time? I said, no. There's no universe, don't you understand? I said, it's not that anything is made of anything.
Yeah.
It's if you look at it a certain way, it becomes universe. If you look at it at another... So he said, you mean the observer creates the universe, that's all. I said, no, there's no observer also. It's so he says, so who is doing the observation? Who wrote this? He couldn't. It couldn't.
Yeah.
It couldn't penetrate his mind. And it took 30 years until an Israeli genius, Eitan Sachert, true genius, I mean, caliber of Einstein plus, amazing genius, mathematician, physicist, computer scientist, and so on, obtained by some miracle, not my, I didn't, he met my brother and obtained a copy of my doctorate. And he wrote me a series of letters with the equations and so on. I said, wow, he digs it.
Right.
He got it.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, for 5 years, we're working together. He spread it already. There's 40 scientists, physicists all over the world. And last year, for the first time, my theory was published. I mean, his theory, actually. I mean, he took it way... my theory, our theory, was published in a mainstream, very important academic physics academic journal. Not open access, but real academic journal. And was presented in the most important physics conference in Ljubljana. So it's becoming mainstream, but still no one understands it. When Einstein published his general relativity, everyone was joking, no one understands. There are only 3 people in the world. Someone told Einstein, another physicist, told Einstein, there are only 3 people in the world that understand it. It's you, and Einstein said, who is the third? I mean, like, no one understood relativity.
Yeah.
But relativity, compared to my work, is utterly intuitive. Every child should understand it.
Yeah.
Because it has to do with measurements, relative measurements and so on. And it's easily explainable. Even I can explain to you general relativity, and if I talk to you for 1 hour, you will know everything there is to know.
Right.
And you will also accept it and understand it.
Yes.
Do you want to make an experiment? I can give you an example. Elevator. Imagine that you're in an elevator.
Okay.
And the elevator suddenly, I mean, the cord is cut, by me, of course, and the elevator falls. What happens to you?
I drop.
You drop. What happens to your body?
It would elevate.
Yes.
Away from the floor.
No weight.
Yeah.
You have no weight. So do you understand that gravity and acceleration, fast movement, are the same thing?
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah. Yeah.
That's general relativity. Now you understood general relativity.
That's it? That's all general relativity?
That's all general relativity.
Oh.
That's all. You don't need to know anything more.
Okay.
Gravity and acceleration are the same.
Okay.
So
in a physics sense, gravity and acceleration are the same effect.
when you are in that elevator,
Yeah.
you cannot tell if it's falling
Yes.
or if
Right.
something happened to gravity.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
When you're inside, you don't know that I cut the cord.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Although if you know me, you know that I did. But
I would suspect.
But imagine that you don't know me.
Yeah.
You think you're safe, but I'm behind you. So I cut the cord.
Yeah.
When you're inside the elevator, you say, is it falling or something
Or am I
happened to
in
gravity?
0 G? Yeah.
Or something happened to gravity?
Yeah.
Was gravity turned off?
Yes.
Is it falling or was gravity? So you are not sure
Yeah.
if it's accelerating or gravity changed.
Right.
Clearly, acceleration and gravity are indistinguishable.
Yes.
That's general relativity.
Oh.
But there is no way for me to intuitively, I can explain to you my theory,
Yeah.
but not intuitively.
Yeah.
My theory assumes that there is a particle called chronon, but even that is not true. It's not a real particle. Never mind. There is something which transfers time, creates time, and transfers time.
Not a physical particle, like a unit.
It's not a real physical particle because there are no particles in my theory.
Okay.
Imagine everything. Remember, everything is manifestation of time.
Yeah.
But there is this something that we, when we look at time in a specific way, can interpret as a particle.
Okay.
And that particle transfers time. In our modern physics, everything is transferred with a particle. Did you hear about the Higgs Boson?
Yes.
Higgs Boson is a particle that transfers mass.
Yes.
Transfers mass. So the chronon is a particle that transfers time.
Okay.
It moves, and as it moves, it creates time.
So this is the Higgs boson is the God particle.
Yes.
Right.
And that's
So
the mass particle.
So yours is the beyond God particle.
Yes, it's what we call universe is self-creating. We have a sense of time not because anything objective exists, but because we would not have survived otherwise. Even Einstein said that. I didn't say it first. Einstein said there's no time. There's no such thing.
Right.
Everything exists simultaneously.
Yes.
But imagine if we are facing a tiger and we don't have a concept of time. We will not have
your lunch.
Yes. So, concept of time was created to help our survival, but we should never confuse this with a physical reality.
Yes.
This is a software artifact.
Yes.
Our software is written in a way that helps us to survive.
Yes.
I'm saying Einstein's theory is this kind of software. It's a software that's written so that we can understand the universe and predict it.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean it's real.
It's the Eastern, to go Eastern would be, it's illusion. It's an illusory sort
Yes.
of...
But of course, it's self-defeating because illusion has to be in the mind.
Yeah.
It's more than illusion. It's self-creating. I don't know. It's like the time is like think of it as a field.
Yeah.
Where anything and everything can happen and does happen.
And is
it's a little like the multiverse.
Yeah.
Anything and everything can happen and does happen. However, because we have highly specific brains, need for survival, we are forced to translate it into a language which we call physical theory that will allow us to survive. Our huge mistake until now is to have confused these languages and this theory and to say they are reality.
Right.
They are the physical world. They are not.
Yeah.
They are not the physical world. And even this is not the physical world. This is how my software interprets something that helps me to, because if I don't see this and I walk into it, I will lose some critical organs, which unfortunately are not in use, but should have been. So it's helpful to believe, it's helpful for this software to interpret this as a table with mass. It's helpful. Is this real? The question is meaningless. Reality is a mode of interpretation. You are a human being, you interpret reality in a specific way. What is beyond all these languages and physical theories? What is really real? Not the theories, not even Einstein's theory, not the languages, and definitely not your brain, and everything that it is telling you. None of this. What is real, which again, I mean, you see, the language is a problem, but what is real is that everything can happen. The potential is real. And it's not real in the sense that it exists somehow, there's a potential bank. It's real in the sense that as time passes, everything can and will happen.